Well, hello everyone, TheLemonSheep here, hope you're having a fantastic day so far, and today I'm going to be doing another Dead by Daylight tier list, because the last one went oh so well. But this time I'm going to be ranking every single mori based on, well, how much I like them, and it's definitely not an excuse to have mori in the title when there's been a big update to moris, and, you know, increase viewer rate and what have you. Definitely not nothing to do with that. Now, before we start, I just want to say thank you for the big support on the last DVD video I did, which was what killers I wanted to see in Dead by Daylight. That's got like well over 1,000 views now. Big, good stuff. Thank you. And also, when I'm going to be talking about the Moris, I'm probably going to be talking like over the Mori playing, just because of the amount. There's like 10 minutes worth of Moris, and I don't want this video to be like 20-25 minutes long. I also want to give a massive shout out to Behaviour Interactive for adding this little feature. It has saved me a lot of time. But yeah, that's enough of yapping. Let's just get straight into the ranking, starting with the worst one, the Trapper. It is quite boring. It just gives you like a couple of like smacks and you're dead. I don't know, it's just not really imaginative whatsoever. But it is like the first Mori in the entire game, so I can't really fault Behaviour for that. But yeah, overall, pretty piss poor. Next up is Wraiths. It is basically the same as Trappers, but he pulls you towards him. But I don't really need to say anything else, do I? Now we have Pigs. I don't know, Pigs is just really boring to me, because like there's not really that Saw-esque, like, I don't know, like tortury-ness to it. I feel like they could have added something like that. But yeah, it's just like a quick stab in the hand, pull it away, slit the throat. It's not fun. I think Moris need to be a little bit fun, and like quite frankly, these ones down here are just not it, Chief. And it's probably a bit me sadistic saying it's fun to kill people, but whatever. Okay, next one is the one that's irritated me the most, and that's Freddy Krueger. You could have done so much with this one, Behaviour. Like, he's literally, like, he puts you into the dream world, basically. Well, I don't know, I feel like they could have done something where you're in the dream world, and he just, like, messes around with you. Like, you know, he, like, summons all, like, the blood pools and stuff. Sometimes he'll do, like, their hands, like, clawing away, or something like that, and then, like, slashing you to bits. Well, obviously there's no dismemberment, because, you know, we can't have that. But, yes, just summon a bit more imaginative with Freddy honestly would have gone miles. But at the end of the day, it's literally just like a gut stab, like the big gush of, you know, cranberry juice. It's quite nice, but that's all there is to it, really. It's just pretty piss poor. Next up is everyone's favourite killer, the Skull Merchant. Now, I will say, Scully's is just a better version of Freddy's Mori. Like, she stabs them in the exact same place and, like, lifts them up, like, to show, like, she's, you know, she's pretty strong. She's pretty intimidating. I think that's quite cool. The thing that annoys me the most is the drone. What is it doing? Is it just, like at the end bit, like, it scans the survivors? Yes, this survivor's definitely dead. Like, what is it doing? Like, I know, like, people were complaining that, you know, there wasn't enough of the drone incorporated into the Mori. This just wasn't the way to go, unfortunately. Because, like, I don't know, maybe she could have, like, get some drones to harass the survivor first, to, like, kind of, like, swat them in the way, and then maybe, like, they get cut by, like, the blades or something first, and then she goes in for the kill. I think that would have been kind of cool. But, yeah, just add in the drone, just, like, go, yes, this bitch is definitely dead. Not the way to go, unfortunately. Next up we have Billy, which is the best one of the original three in my opinion. It's just, the chainsaw, it's pretty damn brutal, okay? I love the, like, sound design, like, the crunching on it. It's, mwah, chef's kiss. But then again, it's one of the original three. It's not really a lot to it, but it's still kind of cool, I suppose, so, I don't know. So I put it like up just above Skull Merchants, because it is just like a little bit cool. Next we have Pyramid Head's Final Judgment. It is what it is. It's just a quick slice and then drag down. It is pretty brutal for, like, you know, such a short second or two. But it gets the job done. And yeah, I can't really rank it higher than this because, you know, there's nothing to it. But it's the best it could have been, in my opinion. Now we have the twins without the baby present. I think it's kind of neat. I like how Charlotte, like, slices them a couple of extra times just to make sure they're dead. I think it's a nice little touch to it, but yeah, it's also kind of brutal as well because it's like a sickle, you know. But yeah, overall, it just kind of alright. Now we have Doctors. I think Doctors is, pretty okay. The electricity aspect of it is quite fun. Like, you see, like, the survivor, like, flopping around, which they're getting zapped, and, like, the final shot where, like, he pulls them back, and, like, all the smoke comes out. I think it's pretty nice, but it's not super brutal. It's not really super, out there, so that's why I put it this low. Now we have a possibly controversial pick. I can't even pronounce it right. But anyways, we have the Were-Elk skin for Huntress. I am not the biggest fan of this Mori. I do think it's kind of cool, but like for the bits, where the action happens, like the axe stab and like the antler shaking around and the intestines is quite a nice little touch. But it's just nothing happens in a lot of it. Like it's a lot of just waiting for something to happen, and it's literally like barely anything happens in it. Most of it's waiting, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit boring. But especially the more you watch it, the more it's just like it's a bit of a slog. Like, but yeah, I don't know. It's. I think it could have been cooler, but too much wait time in it. That's it. Coming up now is the Nurse. Now, I think Nurses is pretty cool actually. Like, it's like the 4th Mori ever made, and they definitely like you can see they stepped up the game a little bit. So like she uses the telekinesis to like throw you around, and then she just strangles you to death. Like. It's pretty nasty. Strangulation, not the best way to go. But it's like when she strokes your face as well, like it's still like that present of like, oh yeah, I'm still a nurse. She's like in the mind of this like a mercy killing. Yeah, I think it's just kind of neat. It adds a pretty decent amount of character to the Mori as well, which is always cool. Now we have possibly the king of horror himself, Michael Myers. I do think it is cool for what it is. It's the most Myers thing they could do, because as we know, like Myers, he just kind of kill. He isn't like doing it for fun. He's just killing because he just does kill, and it's pretty like him to just like grab you around and like stab you. I do like how the survivors fight back, and you're just completely unfazed by it. It's pretty creepy for what it is, and the fact that if you have the tombstone as well, he doesn't even like pick you up. He just like grabs you by the throat and then lifts you. I think that's quite cool. Like he has 2 interpretations where the same Mori can play out. It's pretty neat. Now we have Vecna recovering the artifact. It's pretty damn good for the short seconds that it is. It's like the big crystal comes up, stabs the survivor, and this little skeletoid just like he grabs your head and then places it on one of the spikes. I think it's this funny little touch. But yeah, pretty good for just like a couple seconds. After that, we're gonna have twins with the baby. Now this one it's kind of sweet in a morbid way. Like obviously Charlotte, hits the survivor a couple times, slashes the back of their throat, so they're dead pretty much, or at least paralyzed. And then she gives like Victor a little nod, like, "Oh yeah, now you can go like mess him up a little bit," and he's like slashing her at the head. It's pretty sweet, again, in a morbid way, but it shows the connection between the characters, and obviously if you can actually show like a bit of character in the Moris, I think that's always a neat little touch. Now we're looking at Blights. I do think Blights is pretty decent. I like how he injects the survivors with some of the blighted serum, and they actually start like pulsating or like start growing out their own blighty bubble thing. I do think a little bit more should have happened with the serum, however, like they start quivering with like a mutation or something, and then Blight has to put them down. But other than that, it's a pretty okay Mori, and yeah, it's not really that much to it. Next we'll be looking at the Tricky Dicky Dixters. Now, it's quite cool. I like how he's like the first killer to actually like talk doing the Mori, and he's just, like the peppering with knives. It's quite cool. It shows off his power, and the fucking one he throws in the air and it comes back down like to land on the photo card that he throws on the survivor. That is a nice little touch. Unfortunately, it doesn't get a lot of like gore points, but it's pretty fun. I gotta give it that. It is quite nice. Next, we're going to be moving on to Reg Huntresses, which I think is just a lot better than the Were-Elks. It's mainly the first stab in the head, and the survivor's trying to like claw at the axe. That just makes me really like, ugh, but it's like the other like hits from the Huntress, like that kind of brings it down a little bit. I think it should have ended with like the axe stab, maybe like something before the head stab. That would have been quite nice, but yeah, as it is, it's still pretty good, but kind of let up by the end. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Legions. Now, Legions is pretty aight. I like how the Survivor actually fights back against them, showing that, you know, Legion isn't, you know, that physically strong, but it's just like the gut slash all the way down the middle that he does, or one of them do, rather. My god, it's brutal, and it makes my stomach churn, funnily enough, so, yeah, I'm just going to put it up, well, this high. I can't really put it any higher, but it's as high as it is, purely on the basis of slash down the middle. Now we look at Clowns. Clowns is pretty disgusting. He kills the Survivor pretty quickly, using his, you know, fat ass to put all his weight onto their head, and he, like, cuts their finger off, and, like, sucks it. I hate the sound effect. I hate that. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Pretty disgusting, so I'm going to rank it kind of high. Now we're going to be taking a look at Dracula's. I was kind of disappointed by Dracula's when I first saw it. Now, you see, it's weird, because the more I look at it, the more it's like, okay, that's actually kind of decently cool. But basically all he does is, like, slash at the throat, and then he gets, like, this wine glass to fill up the blood of the victim and then drink it. It's pretty Dracula-esque, I will say, but it is kind of basic, so it's as high as I can really rank it, unfortunately. And to finish off the hat trick of consuming humans, we have Your Mother. Now, this one's the most brutal one of how to dismember a human. Basically, Hag jumps up on the Survivor, like, rips some fleshy bits out of them, noms on one bit, throws it to the ground, noms on another bit. It's it's pretty disgusting. So yeah, pretty decently ranked, I'd say, for what it is. Spirits is pretty cool. It actually just appears behind them and then stabs them in the back with the katana and then, like, slashes at them, like, a bunch of times. I do think, like, it's a good show of her rage, but I do think a couple extra slashes, like a bit quicker, I think that would be a neat little touch, and that's kind of all she needed to make it, like, a really good mori, but for now, it's pretty aight. And just after that, we're going to have Plague. Now, Plague, it's not necessarily brutal, I just think it's really cool. Now, what she does, she just wraps the chain around the Survivor's throat and then just vomits on them until they die. It's pretty good in all honesty. It's a good show of her power, and yeah, it's just, well, vomit to death. It's pretty imaginative. Now we have Bubba. I really do like Bubba's. I like how he, like, stuns the Survivor with the cattle hammer, which, you know, is what it's used for, and just the chainsaw up the back end of them. It's pretty damn brutal, and, like, the little victory cry he does. It's very iconic of Leatherface to do that. Yeah. I don't know why. I ranked this a little bit higher, purely on the basis of this new Mori change, with, like, Bubba doing that final little, yeah, like he's done the match. I don't know, I felt like that's just ranked it a little bit higher than it would have been without this change. I don't know, it's a weird choice, but hey, it's my video. Now, Deathslinger is pretty cool. He basically stabs Survivor with his bayonet on the end of his gun, lifts him in the air, fires the harpoon out their mouth, and then kicks him away. It's pretty cool, I gotta admit. It's a basic but cool mori, and I really gotta appreciate that. But because it's, like, a little bit on the more basic end, I'm kind of keep it a bit lower than some of the other higher tier ones. Next up we have Sadako's. Now, Sadako is quite cool. She lifts Survivor in the air with her telekinesis and breaks some limbs on them. And if you look, stops their heart with her whole, you know, staring into the eye bullshit. But if you do look closely, the Survivor's, what was it, like, left arm, I'd say, they're, like, bony bits. I cannot remember the actual term for it. It's like the tibia or whatever. They're actually sticking out, which is a nice little, like, detail. I would have put this lower than Deathslinger's, but I just noticed that, so I put it just higher than Deathslinger's, purely on the basis of that little bony detail. Judge is pretty weird, actually. It, like, gets all these tendons from, you know, the god knows where fog, and just like stabs them with all sorts of stuff, and like pulls them back into the fog, never to be seen again. Using like these like scorpion tendrils. Well, not scorpion, but you know what I mean. It's quite nasty, I gotta lie, and like the little like essence of like it's just claimed something, like I don't know, to be like part of the dredge. It's kind of cool. I gotta lie, I know I've been saying that a lot, but it's not really any other description I can give. Right, Demogorgon. Demogorgon was, I think, the first Mori I ever saw, so for me it is pretty iconic. I probably rank it a little bit higher because of that, but it's the way he like pounces, and then like the constant like waving around of the head. It's so like animalistically brutal of it. That's why it's ranked a bit higher than the others. I do think it's bugged right now, because I swear when like you actually put your head over the survivor, their scream would be muffled. Now it's not. So I am gonna have to unfortunately rank it down, because you know, it's the state of it, what it is now. But yeah, honestly, Demo, very nice Mori. Now we possibly have the funniest Mori here. We have Ghost Faces, where he stabs the survivor a couple times, so pretty basic, but then he lifts the survivor up, takes a selfie with them, and then just like, oh, add that one to the scrapbook later, and then pisses off. It's so funny. Well, it's not super funny, I guess, but it's a good amount of charm in the Mori. Yeah, you can tell like the devs had a lot of fun making this one, but unfortunately it can't really go any higher. Despite, if it was like a charm tier list, this would be the highest one. It's I can't think of a word, but it's very charmful, is what I'm trying to say. Unknowns is, well, understandably pretty creepy. Like, gives like all four appendages, like crawls over the survivor, and then like these tentacle things erupt from it, and the survivor just disintegrates. Like, you gotta give props to that. Like, there's no other kill that just, well, nearly no other kill that completely disintegrates a survivor. It's pretty unique, honestly, and yeah, definitely gets points for that. Now we have Aliens. Aliens is so good. I think this is the Were-Elk Mori, if, you know, it was good. It has just the right amount of suspense, but also like a good amount of like brutality in it. So pounce it on, stab him with the tail, lift up, and then it's like the head, or the little mouth in their other mouth, like punching a hole through the survivor's head, and then like actually leaving the mark there. I remember seeing that for the first time and like actually being in a little bit of pain, like, oh, you know. But it's a very nice Mori, and yeah, decently highly ranked, I gotta say. Next up, we're gonna be looking at Chucky's. Now, Chucky's is so, well, Chucky, I suppose. He's just like beats the survivor with all sorts of crappy finds, and I like how they animated it as well, so he looks very cartoonish. It's quite cool, and he has like different voice. I think he's like 20 different voice lines for like 10 or 20 for actually killing a survivor, and after like a little boot, just like, yeah, fuck you, piece of shit. I don't know. I do really like it. It's pretty funny. It's got a good amount of charm, and it's pretty brutal. So you know, I'd say it's the most jack of all trades Mori. And now we're gonna have Albert Wesker's. Now I am probably quite biased on this because, you know, Mr. Wesker main over here, but I do think it's quite cool. You know, his sunglasses getting knocked off by the survivor. And you know, if it's Chris doing it, it's quite cool because he's like, "Time to die, Chris." You know, it gives a little bit more uniqueness to it, that some other Moris don't have, with like different voice lines and such. I'm pretty sure it's only like Nemesis does different voice lines, which is, you know, kind of funny, just in these two RE characters. But yeah, it gives the survivor a proper thwack in the mouth, and like use the Ouroboros to like lift them up and then kill them. It spouts out their mouth, which is pretty nice nod to Alexia's death in RE5. Spoilers, by the way. Yeah, overall, it's a pretty solid Mori. It's very Wesker, and yeah. Next up, we have Pyramid Head's actual Mori. Wow, it's so cool. The way he like puts the survivor in the like spiral cage thing, and like all the bones crunching as he does it, and then like the gut stab, and then the twist. It's the twist, I think, that gets it just higher than Wesker's. It's like, you already know that's doing shit tons of damage. I mean, well, obviously, you know, survivor's dead, but like they are not digesting anything properly after that. Like, holy moly. Right, now we're going to be looking at Naughty Bear's mori, which is a skin for Trapper. This is such a good mori. Like, it incorporates the bear trap, which is quite good. But it's like, I think it's the fact that he kills them in the first hit and then decides to keep going, just like stab in the head, slice down into the stomach, and then throw them onto the bear trap he puts down. It's pretty comical and, you know, of Naughty Bear. So yeah, it's quite good. I think Artist easily has the most underrated mori. Like, I don't see anyone talking about how cool this is, but like, she fills the survivor up with like ink, and then this giant like inky crow thing bursts out from them, and then you have like the other like crows just like pecking away at the survivor. It's honestly pretty damn good. It's pretty brutal. I love the way like she just pounces on them. Obviously the money shot is like the crow bursting out. It's, oh my god, it's so cool. It's pretty damn graphic as well. So yeah, Artist, you done good. Next up we have Knight. Now, I love how Knight incorporates his power and just getting everyone else to fuck the survivor up. Basically the assassin stabs in the throat. It's when the jailer like brands their neck. I think this one just puts it over Artists, because that just makes me feel all ugh, you know? Like, I can like feel that. It's not a nice image. And obviously, you know, you got the Carnifex stab. And then you have the bloody Knight propping the survivor up on his sword, like, basically straight down, and then pulling out. It's pretty good. That's all I can really say. It's pretty damn good. Now, just missing the top 5 spot, we have my boy Nemi. His mori, for a while, it was the best, in my opinion. It's the way he like lobs the survivor around, where he screams stars if it's Chris or Jill, and it's, you know what's like why it's so high for me? It's the bloody head stomp, and then like he turns his foot in with the head, and it's all like crunchy sound effects. It's but unfortunately they had to go ahead and make better moris. But Nemesis, you're my main man. Sorry I had to miss out on the top 5. And now starting the top 5, we have the Singularity. Singularity, honestly, it's pretty meh until the final shot. Basically, he just lifts them up with his like scythe hand, and he injects this liquid into the survivor's face, and then their face just fucking explodes. It's so like out there, and the final like shot of the survivor's like skin just being all off, it was modeled so well. Yeah, honestly, very disgusting, very cool, very good. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Pinhead. Now, Pinhead is such a cool mori. He summons all these chains to like prop the survivor up. The skin peeling at the face is always stretching, I suppose. It's always been unpleasant to watch for me, and, you know, that's very Hellraiser, not being pleasant to watch. And then he sends them to the depths of hell, because, well, why not? I think the only thing holding this mori back is if the chains wrapped around the pillar as the survivor went down. I think that'd be quite cool, but as it stands, it's going to be taking the number 4 spot. Now, for the bronze medal, Oni's going to be taking this one. Now, I did kind of forget Oni was released before Nemesis, so apologies for my lying earlier. But it's so gruesome. It perfectly encapsulates Oni just being this big pissed off guy. He rips Survivor's tongue out, crushes it, and smacks him a bunch with his was it Kabu? Or I think that's what it's called at least. But mate, it's so brutal. It's so, like, as I said, it's very enraging. Like, he is pissed basically, and yeah, I think it's the most character. It has the most character out of all these moris. So yeah, that's why I've ranked this one so high. And now we're going to be looking at the newest mori, which is going to be taking the silver medal. That's going to be the true form for Dracula. Now, where do I even begin? It's just so much. There's so much going on. He's got like these like heads with him. Well, first of all, he grabs a survivor, lifts them in the air, so all these heads like snap at the survivor, and throws them away. And if you look really carefully, he's still holding their bloody spine. Like, it's so gruesome. But by God, it's cool. And yeah, honestly, this would have got gold medal if this next guy did not have such a fantastic mori. And that guy, of course, is going to be Vecna's actual mori. I've loved this mori ever since it came out, man. Well, came out. Sorry for bad grammar. But basically, all he does, it's a Mortal Kombat fatality, pretty much. He like gets the army of skeletons to like lift the survivor towards him, and he like breathes on them, kind of funny. And the skeletons just like rip all the skin off the survivor, like rip everything off the survivor, so there's just like a bloody skeleton left. And it's the last shot of the jaw falling off. It's, oh my god, it's just so cool. Right. it's easily the best mori by far. Well, maybe not by far, but because they're all really cool. But yeah, Vecna's easily my favourite. And with that, definitely not longer than 20-minute ranking. That's it. That's all of the moris ranks from worst to best. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know. I've been enjoying doing more of these like talking stuff more often. Yeah. I don't really have many ideas for what I could do. So yeah, if you want to drop me some suggestions down below, that'd be great. Sorry this video came out a bit late. I wanted to do it for the Tuesday, but you know, they were adding a new mori Tuesday, so I said, oh, fuck it, I'll just do it for the Wednesday. I'm going to try my best to get into like a proper schedule. Ideally, it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe. But I think for just the meantime, I'm going to stick to 2 videos a week and a live stream, and then ideally we get to the 3 videos a week and then maybe 2 live streams. I think that'd be kind of cool, because YouTube's been pretty fun for me as of late. So yeah, I'm going to try putting some more effort into it, I think. If you are interested in any of my live streams, I am currently doing them every Saturday at 1:30 British time. I'm currently doing a vote at the minute for what games and what game I'm going to play next. So if you're interested in that, go have a look. See, yeah, it looks like it's going to be FNAF. So thanks for voting for the shittest one. But yeah, I think I'm just going to get this video over and done with now. Thank you for watching all of this. Sorry it ended up being a big tangent, and yeah, I guess I'll just see you in the next one. Toodles.